You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system for your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want to invite bet your friends watching in the house and your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Especially if you was just here with me in the last live show. We just reviewed Good Girls Season 4, Episode 4 on the last show. And I told y'all I was coming right back to review Queen Sugar. And we are now with this show on Season 5, Episode 7. And it was titled June 1st, 2020. Now, as you know, this entire season is based off of last year. Everything that happened last year, the pandemic, the president, all the mess at the White House, around the country, all the racist, the prejudice, Black Lives Matter, all that. This whole entire season was basically filmed like a lot of shows last year, but this is one of these TV shows where a lot of their actual episodes are intertwined with everything we experienced last year as a Black people and as a people. So please come on in, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the share button, hit the like button, and subscribe to the Hood Table if you're not already subscribed. And you can follow us on Facebook, IG, Twitter, and as well as thehoodtable.com. Please and thank you so very kindly. And yes, if you're all caught up with Queen Sugar, feel free to drop down in the chat and let me know what you thought about the episode, or about any of the storylines or anything like that, or even about anything that happened during the pandemic or Black Lives Matter. These last few episodes of Queen Sugar has been focusing a lot on the protest that was going on last year in the summer. Coming off the back of the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin, who is right now on trial. So yeah. Let me know if you've been following the trial too. But yes, so anywho, let's get right into this review. Queen Sugar, Season 5, Episode 7, June 1st, 2020. Hey Cheryl Boo, you said you gotta get caught up. Yes, you gotta get caught up. This season has been very, very dramatic. Yes, I'm loving it. I love me some Ava DuVernay. She has done a great job with this season. Really, really has done a great job. But so, again, let's get started. At the beginning of this episode, we saw how Ra and Darla, they had just got the results of Blue's IQ test in the mail. So together, they were reviewing his test results, his test scores. They knew their son Blue, everybody knows from Vi on down. They know that he is quick as a whip, has always been quick as a whip. But they had no idea just how truly intelligent he was. Yes, Blue. Very smart young man. But as smart as some children are, he couldn't quite understand why a man who knew he was about to die would call out for his dead mother for help, instead of calling out for someone who is alive, leading Darla to explain to him how much George Floyd, who was killed by the officers last summer in Minneapolis, how he had really loved and missed his mother, who had passed on before him. And sometimes when we are, and this is true, sometimes when we are scared, sick, or alone, we reach out, call on the name of those who we love and care about, and who love and care about us, even if they're no longer here. So Darla, she was just about to lose it because Blue, when he had started asking all those questions, she had started crying because it is so incredibly hard trying to explain to a child all the evils that go on in the world. Like, even when creating those posters for the Black Lives Matter protests, we have to find ways to explain where a child could comprehend that we don't want them murdered like others in the past at the hands of police or at the guns of police. And when explaining that to them, it's challenging because we don't want to scare them. But in a sense, we have to almost make them want to fear the police these days because, like, I mean, when we was growing up, I'm sure it was probably the same for a lot of y'all. When we was growing up, it was so many promotions, so many commercials, so many youth programs, so many police dog characters and all that kind of stuff over, over the media and coloring books and so on and so on. Like, they drilled in our heads when we were younger. They were doing anything to demonstrate how much we as children should not be afraid of police, but that we should instead look to them as our friends, who are solely there to help and protect us and not to kill us and get away with it like they used to back in the day and still do. But what do y'all think about the scene with Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue when protesting? This scene kind of like hit home. Like, as a family, they stood on their property protesting, saying such chants as, no justice, no peace, and Black Lives Matter, as most of us have done over the past year. And I felt like the scene with the cop, although Rod, he stood up to him, but that scene really made Blue feel unsure of what they were doing. Like, y'all telling me all this at home, how we need to fight and da 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 da. Then this cop come up here out the blue. Like, what did we do wrong? What are we doing wrong? He really was confused. Like, he's like, should we be doing this? Should we be out here? And it's always very painful to experience or watch somebody be racially profiled or disrespected by a racist cop. But when it's done to or in the presence of small children, it's absolutely despicable, disgusting. It's just not right. It's just not right. But what Raw did next sent a strong message to all of us, including the children. Because even after the cop tried to humiliate him, intimidate him, Raw, he was just standing there like, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this. That cop was really trying to intimidate him with his words and with his gun. Y'all saw how he slightly lifted his gun out of his, the holster. But Rob was like, I ain't the one, homeboy. Not today. So Rob faced off with that cop, just like past pillars who represented our communities. Rob stood there, chin up, chest out, looking like the proud, beautiful black man that he is, holding his son's hand. Then after the cop took off to another scene, Rod comforted Blue, who was then now crying, and while still screaming, no justice, no peace, no racist police, with his own tears streaming down his face. He was like, yeah, Blue, they get on their nerves. They say despicable things. They hurt our feelings, but we still got to fight. So they both was crying there on the side of the road on their property, tears streaming down their face, still screaming, no justice, no peace, no racist police, and Black Lives Matter chants. So that to me sent a very, very strong message. And then seeing Ross so emotional as he explained to Hollywood was also a heartfelt scene. Like, I just love Ralph Angel. Besides him being just so sexy, so fine, so black, so just beautiful. The crying scenes can be hard, especially when you have to make viewers feel exactly how you want them to feel. Everybody can't cry just like that and make you believe that they are actually crying. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the beautiful Ava DuVernay as well for making sure that we remember 2020 and all of the fears and emotions from last year. Because out of all the shows I've been reviewing that were filmed last year, some of them focus on things or had even like the protests and stuff in some of their clips and some of their episodes. But out of all the ones I've been reviewing from last year that were filmed last year, this show has some of the most powerful episodes yet that I have saw. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. But moving on to Charlie, Micah, and Nova. Yeah, Charlie, Micah, and Nova. While packing up some t-shirts for the little marchers, because they was gonna have the little children, doing some marching and protesting. They had all these t-shirts ready for the little marchers to wear. And while packing, Nova was expressing, what most of us felt like having Trump in the office over the last 4 years, especially during the beginning of the pandemic. Nova couldn't wait for November of last year to come so that Trump could be voted out of the White House, like so many of us. But even if we all, even if as we all know, he has cult like followers. We all know that he has cult like followers. So maybe wherever he goes, when he goes away, his beliefs, as with others just like him, might not ever go away. So we might have got him out the White House. But when it comes down to it, people who have those very, very strong beliefs and traditions, they don't ever go away. It's like it be with them to their death, really. A lot of people back in the day, especially the racist ones, they take it all the way to their death, thinking and feeling that they were right the entire time they was living. But anywho, while packing, she got a call from her sister Charlie, who was still trying to find a way to deal with Micah's absence. Who wants to do more for Black Lives Matter, then just posted on social media, decided to take a trip to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Something that I wanted to do too, but I had to work and the kids, and I just couldn't get up and leave. So, I fought here. I was on the corners here, making videos, protesting, speaking to the people, all that, like a lot of you have. But he wanted to hit the pavement running in support of the protest. Excuse me. In support of the protest for the George Floyd murder. Sip doing videos back to back really, messes with your throat. But anywho, despite knowing that his mother would probably prefer that he didn't be all up front and center for the cause, he still needed her support, which she did give him. She was hesitant, but she did give him her full support, because even though there's always a chance that he could get caught up in the crosshairs of the protests and or the pandemic, she's extremely proud of what he has been doing for his community. And more or less, he's following in her footsteps and also in the footsteps of his Aunt Nova. So, but still, Charlie doesn't think that Micah is old enough to be traveling by herself. So she called Nova because she needed she needed some comfort. But Nova, always being so deep, was like, well, what about King, Malcolm, Ella Baker, Asada Shakur, Angela Davis, John Lewis, people like that? A lot of people didn't think that they were fully grown. So as Charlie suspected, Nova, she was very happy. She's very proud of Micah. She's like cheering him on and stuff. But Charlie, who's equally as proud of Nova as well, she wasn't too happy hearing about what Nova was about to do. Like Nova, she's using her article or her story for the reason to return from Austin by way of a plane. Nova and Calvin, they were going to drive his daughter, Courtney, back to her apartment in Austin. But when returning on a return trip, instead of driving, Nova wanted to know exactly how TSA is handling travel restrictions with all these black travelers. So you remember last year, people were coming from everywhere. Even when we had something here going on after the George Floyd murders, when one of our young black men here was killed by a white business owner in the streets during a protest, we had people coming from all over to be here with us in Omaha, Nebraska. So she wanted to see, with all these people flying to all these protests, to help support, how is TSA handling all this during the travel restrictions. So she wanted to fly back and get a firsthand experience. She did promise, an already worrying Charlie that an always worrying Charlie, that she will be covered and masked up the entire time from head to toe. But back to Courtney. Nova has really been an inspiration for her, to see things in the world a little more clearly now, a little more clear. A lot like, a lot of white people, because a lot of white people, they live their entire lives with blinders on. Some black people too, But a lot of white people live like that. And keep in mind, Courtney was still in disbelief when hearing that her dad, as a rookie cop, just stood idle while his fellow officers beat down that young black boy over a stolen candy bar. So because of that and everything else going wrong in the world right now against black people, Courtney wants to learn how to be an ally for us, like how to truly support us as a black people, which she's definitely going to learn from Nova. But Charlie. I want to talk about Charlie lastly. Charlie, I don't know exactly what's going on with her. I think she was, because they didn't say, but I think Charlie must be suffering from a panic or an anxiety attack. I hope it wasn't a heart attack, but sometimes they can lead to the same results. But Charlie, as we know, has been under some severe pressure from having a lot on her plate, along with concerns of whether she and her loved ones will be affected by the pandemic, along with her working hard for the community so that their properties won't be taken by the builders. And then on top of that, worrying about Micah while he's up in Minneapolis amongst the Black Lives Matter protesters. Everything is beginning to take a toll on her, leaving her almost breathless and in pain from trying to keep it all together. And nobody was around. Micah's away. Nova's traveling to Austin. Ralph Angel wasn't answering his phone. And Aunt Vi was dealing with Hollywood, who is not handling the loss of his mother very well. And speaking of Hollywood, I'm going to need him to give our Aunt Vi a break. Okay? I know he's going through something right now, but he ain't the only one. While Aunt Vi is trying to be there for everybody, including him, he's behaving like his issues are the only ones that matter. And did y'all see how Prosper eased on out of that room? Man, Prosper was like, you know how you be in church? You know how you be in church and you hold your little finger up in the air and you be like, Prosper was like holding his finger up as if to say, I think I'll excuse myself right now. But anyway, back to Charlie, who again was having a crisis. Now, while I believe that she should have been calling 911 first before reaching out to anyone, because I'm sorry, if I'm having a whole panic, anxiety attack, asthma attack, heart attack, stroke, I'm calling 911 first, okay? And then I'm going to tell them, could you please call my daughter? Could you please call my son, my mom, and them, But she was reaching out to everybody in the phone book and still didn't call 911. Now, after I'd have said all that, I am glad that she finally was able to reach someone, and that someone was her ex and her son's father, Mr. Davis West. So now what? Will Davis be able to make it to her before she winds up in a very dire state? And as far as the previews for next episode, who was it that knocked on her door? Somebody knocked on her door, screaming her name. They bust out the glass to reach in and unlock the door. But I couldn't quite make out, if it was the voice of Ralph Angel or Davis, because is Davis even in town? I can't remember. For the life of me, I can't remember. I'm not about to go back and watch all them episodes or watch all my reviews because I've been reviewing this show since season 1. But who do y'all think it was at that door? Because I couldn't quite catch the voice. But anyway, somebody was there to rescue her. But I'm like, what condition was she in by the time they got there? Especially if she never called 911. But anywho, I hope everyone has been enjoying this season as much as I have thus far. Among many things, I absolutely love how well they incorporated real life personal issues with real life world issues as well. And I believe this particular episode quote was, and it was by Nova. It was by Nova. She said, "We can always look to history for ideas to help us move forward." On that note, please like and share the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the Hood Table. Stay safe. Be blessed. Always remain vigilant. Yes, ma'am. And keep it hood. Bye.